My immigrant dad spent $200,000 convincing me I wasn't good enough for college. He didn't just say it with words, he said it with his entire life savings. It started subtly. My whole life, he'd praised my younger brother, Leo, for being book smart, while I was just the one with good hands. When I started talking about universities, my dad's praise for Leo turned into a quiet campaign against me. The first check he wrote was for $5,000 to an educational consultant who concluded I'd struggle with academic rigor. The report was a masterpiece of professional doubt, and my dad waved it around like a flag of victory. Next, he invested $60,000 into a failing auto shop. "This is your college, Alara," he'd said, his eyes gleaming with a strange kind of hope. "A real business, not a piece of paper." He hired me to work there after school, but he also hired a manager who critiqued my every move. Every bolt I tightened, every customer I spoke to, it was all reported back to my father as proof that I wasn't a natural. He was spending a fortune to prove to himself that I couldn't succeed at anything but the one path he'd chosen for me. Meanwhile, he paid for Leo's elite SAT prep, his fencing lessons, his trip to volunteer in another country, all perfect additions to a stellar college application. It was a tale of two children, one being paved with gold, the other being barricaded with it. The spending escalated. He bought expensive diagnostic machines for the shop we didn't need, insisting I learn them. When I'd master one, he'd sell it at a loss and buy a different brand, claiming the first was junk. It was a never-ending cycle of manufactured failure. He even paid a distant cousin, a supposed life coach, $20,000 to take me on a tour of trade schools across the country, all while framing it as a grand, educational adventure. Each director we met would look at my file, prepped by my dad, and tell me I had potential, but maybe a 4-year degree wasn't the most efficient path for someone like me. I was living inside a meticulously crafted, incredibly expensive bubble of inadequacy. Behind his back, I was writing application essays in my room at 2 a.m., studying for exams in the library, and applying for every scholarship I could find. I felt like a spy in my own family, gathering intel for a future he was determined to prevent. The breaking point came on a Tuesday afternoon. An email arrived, a full scholarship to my dream school, not just an acceptance but a recognition of all the secret work I'd put in. I ran downstairs, my heart pounding with a wild hope that this would finally be enough. I showed him the email, my hands shaking. For a moment, he was silent. I saw a flicker of something in his eyes. Was it pride? But then it vanished, replaced by a cold, hard resolve. He walked over to his desk and pulled out a bank statement. "You see this?" he said, his voice flat. He pointed to a transfer, $115,000. The last of his savings. "I bought the building for the shop this morning. It's in your name." He looked me dead in the eye. "There is no money for your fantasy. I spent it all making you a real future. You're a business owner now. This is who you are." He had spent $200,000 to build a cage and lock me inside it. I looked from the bank statement to the scholarship email on my phone. His life savings, or my life. For the first time, I didn't see a monster. I saw a scared man, so terrified of the world that had bruised him that he'd rather break his own daughter's spirit than watch her risk getting hurt. His fear wasn't my fault, but I would not let it become my prison. I took a deep breath and said, "You spent all that money to prove I wasn't good enough for them." I held up my phone. "But you know what you really did? You proved that I was good enough to fight you, to fight everyone, and to win on my own." I walked out of that house with nothing but my scholarship and the clothes on my back. He spent a fortune trying to teach me my limits. Instead, he taught me that I didn't have any. And that was a lesson worth more than any amount of money.